Hey, welcome to my Saturday webinars. I'm Miriam Asip, Commander Mimi on social media. And if you're wondering about this, well, watch my other account that's also Commander Mimi, but it's instead of commander.mimi, it's commander_Mimi, and that's my fighting account. And you will be able to see my bloody face and how I got this. It was a fun fight. No. Now, this is about how to fight less. And today I want to share with you my framework, what I give my clients every day so they can practice and make their conflicts, instead of destructive, into healthy conflict. So I specialize on communication and healthy conflict for couples. And reason why is because a lot of people, they're just stuck in the same patterns, and they are usually, they try to read stuff, they try to apply things, but sometimes it just doesn't stick, and they just get tired of having the same conflicts over and over and feeling drained, like, really, we can't do better than this, like, we just keep on fighting over the same stuff, really. And the relationship is not, usually not, you're not broken, it's just the dynamics that need fixing. And it's usually one of these 4 steps that need some work, and that's the AVVA blueprint. I called it AVVA because it'll be easier to remember for you. Now, why, like, I chose to focus on healthy conflict because that is the #1 predictor of success in relationships. If you approach conflict, because conflict is not bad, conflict is going to happen because, 2 people are different, and you're going to have conflicting needs, boundaries, thoughts. So you will disagree, but it's how we do it that either brings closeness or disconnection. And as the government say, which are like the leading experts on marriage and couples, it's that if you approach conflict with criticism, defensiveness, stonewalling, those are dynamics that are going to be toxic to the relationship. And little by little, it's not about not bringing conflict up, because if you also avoid conflict, then that doesn't bring you closer to your partner. That brings you farther and farther apart until you just become like roommates. Like, we're just 2 people trying to make this functional and trying to, get the house together and raise these kids together. And that is not the relationship that you want. So I'm here to tell you it can be better, and you can change this. You can change yourself. Maybe you cannot change your partner, but you, by taking these 4 steps and fixing those, working on your skills, because this is just a skill, you can change your life in your relationship. And a lot of people say, yeah, well, maybe I just have to choose my battles, right? And maybe not communicate these things or certain things. And the truth is, you want a relationship that's open. You want connection. You want to learn how to communicate those needs. Because sometimes these conflicts happen because these unmet needs keep being unmet for so long that they just pop out. So you either explode or keep it silent. And that's the game people play. They either explode with blame, accusations, judgments, or they keep it quiet, and they keep oscillating between those 2. And here, let's dive into what is the AVVA script. What is that? So A is for awareness, V, validation, the other V is for a vulnerable invite, and A is for action, either act or ask. Now, this is like your GPS. That's how I want you to see it. And we can't go to the next step if we don't have the first step very, very clear. So, awareness, what is that about? Some people go through life and we're just reacting, and we have a feeling, we feel uncomfortable, but they ask us the question and we just answer, and we just go through it until we're like, oh, now I'm upset. And then we realize something's going on. And now, like, oh shit, I just reacted this whole time, right? So as soon as you feel something, you need to develop this awareness of, yeah, I just got triggered. Okay, but what does that feeling tell me? Usually we just stick to the feelings, and once we feel something, we want to approach our partner and communicate, hey, I feel this way. and the partner's just like, well, what do we do with these feelings? Right? And that usually triggers a, like, we express our feelings in a way that it's actually very accusatory and puts our partner in a spot of like, what am I supposed to do? Well, you should know, and that just brings more conflict. So the step of awareness is just to be aware. It's not to express it. It's just a moment where we feel something and we gotta stop. We gotta freeze. We gotta take a breather. We gotta take a moment to realize, what is this feeling tell me about what I need? Because the next step in validation, it's all about our partner. We're not even expressing what we need yet. We need to know where we want this conversation to go. Because if we just come in, again, like, our partner's not gonna know where we wanna go. That he doesn't know how to fix our, like, what do we want? What do you want fixing? I have a solution for you. And usually what we want is not a solution. How many times do you just bring up what you feel and they're like, well, you can just do this? No, because because that's not what we want. What we want is connection. We want understanding. Hey, I'm feeling this way. Oh, okay, I didn't know that upset you. We want understanding. So that's why I'm asking you to please hold up on the solutions. First, we got to connect. And to connect, we got to know where we want to go. What does connection mean for us in this moment? Right now, there was a moment of disconnection. I felt it. I felt that tension. Okay, so what does this say that I need? Maybe I'm just observing my limits. Maybe that's what it means. Observing our limits means there was a boundary that maybe we didn't realize, and it was just crossed, and it affected us in some way. So, I'm sorry, I just read one of the comments and it was just pretty funny. So awareness also includes knowing your values, how you want to lead your life. So maybe they said something that triggered you, reminded you of something, and you just really don't want to be hearing that judgment. So, okay, I feel very uncomfortable when I hear that. I really need respect. That's a human need. Now we can go into what are human needs, because usually people also argue about, you don't need that, you don't need to go outside, you don't need to do this. And it's important that we make the distinction between needs to survive and needs to thrive, because usually when people think about needs, are just needs to survive. You don't need a bunch of things to survive, right? But I want you to see this as the compass to have a thriving relationship. And to have a thriving relationship, you need a bunch of things. You need not just the basics, but you need play. You need going out together. You need time together. And different people, like, you have the human needs that are basic for everybody: feeling heard, respected, loved. But people feel loved in different ways. People feel loved with words of affection. People feel loved with time, with gifts. So those are more individual. And it's important that we know our need and also what that behavior looks like so that we can express it better when it comes to time. So that's awareness. Now that I know that, for me, it's very important to feel respected, and there was one word that felt disrespectful for me, and I really don't like to hear it, because we are pursuing a life that brings us more positive emotions. That doesn't mean that they have to change for us, but we can set boundaries around the things that we want to expose ourselves, that we can remove ourselves from, or we can request a change to see if people want to cooperate with us, to see what we're going to do with ourselves to experience that life that will bring us more well-being, and we will thrive better. So that's the power that we have, and that's how we can approach it. Now, if we come in and we say, hey, I feel, I need, I want, which is the script for a vulnerable invitation, then we can do that. But usually that's like just crossing the street without looking both ways. People just want to express themselves, and they expect the other person to be able to listen in that moment. And that is a big mistake that I see often. So think of the AVVA blueprint as awareness of knowing where you want to go. Do I want to cross the street this way or that way? The V for validation, it's clicking the cross button. So once you know where you want to go, what that feeling, what that need, what you're going to ask for, then we go into validation. We don't just go and cross the street. That's the vulnerable invitation, that's expressing your needs. One step before, it's clicking the cross button. It's looking at your partner and seeing if it's a good time to cross the road or not, if they're going to be willing to listen to you or not. Because what's worth trying to make them see your perspective, make them understand you. If they're not willing, nothing's going to come through. So that's why this step matters. Validation, it's being able to see, not put yourself in their shoes, because you think very differently, you have a very different upbringing. It's wearing their skin, wearing their mind, and making sense of their experience. If it doesn't make sense to you, because it makes sense that they would feel, or they would see the things as they see them, it always makes sense. You can ask with curiosity, okay, those thoughts, even if the facts, you don't have to agree. Validation, it's not agreeing with them. Yes, you're right, that's how things are. Yes, you're right, your perspective is completely right. Those are the facts. That's not validation. Validation is understanding that if they were raised that way, if those are the maybe assumptions or beliefs they're going by, okay, it makes complete sense. It makes complete sense that that's the reaction they would have, and you see it and you feel it. I feel you. I feel what you feel. Yeah, that makes complete sense. If my mom yelled at me like that, like your mom yelled at you, you know, and I had, not me, but if I had, like, I have the thought patterns that you have, it just makes complete sense. I feel you. That's all we're trying to do in validation. We are growing our perspective by being able to see through someone else's eyes. Doesn't mean we agree. We might think conflicted, and because their perspective and your perspective both can exist at the same time. So, and I see things completely different. I was raised in this life, and I was in it, and maybe I would see things this way because my brain works differently than yours. So it's putting into perspective that your perspective and my perspective both can coexist, and it's not like mine is better than yours. We're just different, and that's what we're trying to communicate. But first, the first V, it's validation. Usually validation, it's completed. That step is completed once the light turns green. And when the light turns green, it's whenever they say, that's it. Yeah, that's exactly how I feel. That moment, that pause where they feel understood, that's when we can proceed. Still looking both ways. That's when we cross the street, still looking both ways. But that's when it's complete. Now, there are some situations in which we're very, very antsy and we really want to share, and validation doesn't have to take that whole time. Validation could be them recognizing a body expression, like, yeah, something that lets us know the light is green. Now they're ready to listen. Because if not, again, all those words, they're gonna miss a bunch of it. So once the light is green, validation, then comes the vulnerable expression of needs in a way that's inviting. Now, usually people want to express their needs, their feelings, as in, I feel this, like, I feel and I need that. And even though you're using the I feel, I need, I want framework, it still comes out as a demand, as if you should give me that, or you have to, I'm right. And that's still, it's implied in the tone. And that's why I make it vulnerable. I make it, it's just, this is what I feel. This is what I feel, and this is what I need. And it's in a way that's open, that's inviting. It's almost comes out as a, as a request, even, like, would you like to hear me out? And it's very scary doing that vulnerably, instead of, well, this is what I need and this is what I want, and that's what I Because if we're vulnerable like that, it leaves us more open for a rejection, for a, well, I'm not going to give you, because you never know what they're going to answer with. And that's pretty scary. That's pretty scary. But that's information that we need. That moment is what you need to see the other person. Is this person really going to be able to fulfill my needs? If you don't put yourself there, it's like living in false hope. Not putting yourself there, it's going to, yes, you're going to keep that relationship for longer, that it may not be the best relationship for you. And you're still there. So that, I'm just gonna put it on you. That's the importance of making it a vulnerable invitation. And of course, you need to feel emotionally safe to be able to open up that way. And sometimes you haven't built that emotional safety because it really hurts when they reject you and they just attack your needs or tell you that you shouldn't have those needs, or like, why do you even have those needs? But that's also being vulnerable in that way. It's also what builds true strength and will help you make better decisions, will help you in the next step, which is the constructive action. So I call it act or ask for AVVA. Act or ask. It's an action, it's a constructive action. It's the action that will truly lead you to the life that you want. How do we do that? We do that by setting boundaries, by letting them know these are the actions that I need to take in order for me to build the life that I want. This is the life that I want, so I need to do that. Or in order to protect my well-being, well, I really don't like to hear those words. I understand that you don't want to change the language that you used to worry me, and it really is upsetting for me. I I feel hurt when I hear that. I usually, the best way to even assert a boundary is to make an invitation. To keep making invitations in a way that says, you know, I'm not willing to hear that. I want to hear what you have to say in a way that doesn't include those words. Would you be open to work in a way to speak to each other that's kind and that we both feel respected? And again, they might say no. And that's where you want to put yourself, sadly, because, if they say no, then now you know. That's where they stand. So if they say no, then again, going through the process of the act or ask would be, okay, I understand validation. I understand you don't want to speak to me differently. And I really need that. That's the life I want. So that's the vulnerable invitation, expression of needs. And then the action would be letting them know. And whenever I start hearing those words, I hurt. So I'll step away to keep my calm, to keep my peace. But again, we're making an invitation. I'm ready to listen to anything you want to say when it's not with using those words, with kindness and respect. It's a positive request. So it's letting them know that here's a wall, here's where I'm not willing to live, but here's where I will be, and that's where I can meet you. That's where I would love to meet you, because those are the relationships that you want. So this action makes sure that you are going to honor your boundaries and you're going to meet them at the bridge, and you care about what they have to say. You care about them, and you're looking for that win-win. You're looking for them to be able to express themselves, to be able to say everything they want in a way that you feel respected, that you fulfill your needs. Now, maybe for them to have their ideal dynamics would be to say anything they want to you. Then that they're the type of relationship that they want. Maybe it's not with you. Maybe it's with someone else that would be fine listening to all those words. And that's what we let them know. That win for you, you can have it, not with me. I am not willing to be that, because that brings me negative emotions, because I don't want to have this repeated experience. And that's how you start breaking the pattern. by setting boundaries, by communicating your needs consistently enforcing your boundaries in a way that's kind, that's firm, that's inviting, that's letting them know where the bridge, that there's a wall, but there's a bridge to you. And that is the one that you will respect. And if they don't want to meet you at the bridge, then that's their choice. And that's okay, because you will honor your boundaries, but not going towards the wall, because you'll be bumping yourself over and over and keep repeating the patterns. So, this is how you take your power back, and you also give them their power of choice. They can meet you there or not. And usually, people want to work, we want the same needs. So this is how you make sure that both of you have a thriving life, and how even if you realize that you guys are not matched well together and you really don't want to pursue this life together, then this usually leads to a happy breakup. Usually some people, they just want what they want and they're gonna hate you anyways. But usually, if you let them know that you really care about them, you want them to have the life of their dreams and their relationship dynamics, that just doesn't really work for your well-being. And I would love for you to understand that, and for you to care about my well-being too, then that's usually pretty understandable, and it leads to a happy bye-bye. Now, if this really spoke to you, I built the AVVA blueprint in a way that you can read it and you can have it like framed more easily. You can put it in your fridge if you need it for any, in a way that's more practical, easier to understand, just to have it on your fridge maybe. And I'll put it in the description. I'll put a link. I'm going to be giving it out for free. One, because I want a better world for everybody. I really do believe in the power of relationships, how just having a good, like my marriage changed me so much. And I believe that if everyone had a relationship like that, this world would be a lot better. So I want that for you. I want you to be able to filter out your relationships so that you can have the right relationship for you, one that really, really works for you and helps you feel alive and happy, and that you're home, and that no matter what happens in the world, you have this one person that's always going to be there for you. And that's the power that you have by building your dynamics and working on the AVA framework. So you can do this. It's going to be there for free. I believe in this. And also, like, another thing is, if you want to work with me, then working on that, you're obviously going to maybe be like, yeah, this would be really helpful. I want some coaching. And you can reach out to me. Also, of course, if you share this, you would be helping me out a lot. If it resonates with you, if it resonates with you and you like it, feel free to share it. Share it, and someone might also be interesting in reaching out to me, and that helps me too. So feel free to use it, and if not, just keep watching my content. I talk about different ways to use the AVA framework, but with different angles, and just keep healing. And also feel free to email me and send me questions. I also nourish from those because I can make more videos, get ideas for videos for you. Okay, so see you next Saturday. And just remember that building real relationships start when you can be more real, you can be more open, and you put yourself out there. So keep working on this. You got this. Okay, see you next Saturday. Bye bye.